Well, we're rolling. You're in the show.
We're in the show right now?
All right.
Who has seen Hardware Wars?
I saw it when I was 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. When did it come out?
And it made you want to be a filmmaker.
It made me want to be a filmmaker, that's right. Others were inspired by Lawrence of Arabia, E.T., or Citizen Kane, Hardware Wars.
Well, here we
How
are
did you
at
get
the
it to
Cannes
make it?
Film Festival and for the 20th anniversary screening of Hardware Wars. That's my yacht out there.
Was it a student film?
Well, a lot of people think it was a student film because it was so funky and rough and crude. But no, I think I was 29 or 30 when I made it, and Ernie was probably 3 or 4 years older. Every time to show you how you can do things very simply is that there's a shot looking right into the spaceship, and everybody's at the controls and doing all this. But there are no controls. There's nothing up here, but it goes out of camera frame, and you hear clicks, click, and whirs and stuff. So just by adding a lot of sound effects, you can create this whole reality that they're in a ship. And I was going to say that there's a steam iron from a fishing wire that we would swing, and I borrowed this one beautiful 5.7 millimeter wide fisheye kinoptic lens with about $2,500 from a friend of mine, and I said, "Oh yeah, man, I'll get it back. We'll be real careful with it." So here I've got the camera set like this, and the iron is swinging within inches over it, and it's stretching a little bit each time. It took 98 takes to get one where it didn't wobble. I've seen it so many times now, but I still laugh at there's a scene with Princess Android, the Carrie Fisher character but she has cinnamon buns on her head, real cinnamon buns, real sticky buns. You've seen them throughout the whole movie, but nobody's made any reference to them until the very end, and the spaceship was flying away. And the Wookiee monster, which is Chewbacca as a hand puppet, turns and looks at her, at the cinnamon buns and goes, "Rawr," eats it, and it just cuts as he's biting, and that still cracks me up. The genesis of the project is that I used to host these shadow play parties. So we'd make our own shadow puppets, and we'd have people go over and put up a screen. And Ernie Facilius was a neighbor of mine, and he was the one that created Hardware Wars. One night we were doing a shadow play of Jaws, and he was so funny that I met with him, I think, a few days later, and in a Chinese restaurant he pitched the idea that we will do a trailer for a movie that doesn't exist that parodies Star Wars and special effects and Hollywood big-budgeted movies. And I took it to Pyramid Films in Los Angeles, who distributed educational films. So it was on a Friday, and I pitched it to them, and they saw it, and they actually locked the door and would not let me out until I made a deal with them. Yep. And so I did. And, Warner Brothers Home Video released it shortly thereafter. Then I got the rights back. Now, the original idea of making this was we wanted to meet George Lucas because he lived in San Anselmo where I lived, and we thought, well, how can we meet him? I had a little office and was making documentaries, and he was making, movies in Tunisia. And we'd see him at lunchtime, and it was just a small little street cafe, and I'd send him bottles of wine. But so we're trying to meet him. We thought, well, maybe we'll put it in a film can and throw it over a tree, and a note that says "From Outer Space." But we found the best way to get it to him was through a carpenter. Somebody was working on his house, and he saw it then on Thanksgiving one year, and after he was eating his pumpkin pie, and he said, so we heard, that it was a cute little film. So I didn't have more than that to work with as far as publicity. Until a couple of years ago when Star Wars came out, he was on a television show in England, the Big Breakfast Show, I think it's called, morning show. And the host asked him, he said, there are a lot of these Star Wars parodies out there. What's your favorite one? He said, oh, well, you probably don't remember, but 20 years ago there was this movie called Hardware Wars, and that's my favorite one. I'm like, yes, It's up on a website in like 10 minutes. Thank you, George.